Hi everyone, Paddy here. Just a quick one to let you know the audio is not going to be quite as crisp this time. We had to record over Skype as we had some issues, so the audio won't be as buttery smooth as you're used to, but I assure you, the chat, it is buttery smooth. Yo, peep this! It's the PC Gaming Show!
Yeah, that's lovely. And with that glittering, star-studded Hollywood introduction by Mr. Patrick Stardust, a.k.a. Mr. Patrick Smith, a.k.a. Hot Ginger on a Big Bad Day. What that ball of the sun doing in the sky? That wasn't very good. I've just ruined my own
No, that is
introduction.
pretty much what I've been doing today. Like, that yellow orb, it sears my flesh.
Yeah, it's not good.
The sun is a deadly laser, and I'm not a fan.
The Sun is the Deadly Laser is a great title for an album.
Stop looking at my notes.
Okay. James Carter is with us once more.
Hello.
And I've had my arm twisted that the PC Gaming Show 2017 was actually good, so I've been forced to watch it. And we're doing it. Patrick led on this, and James went, "Yeah, that was really pretty good." So I've sat through it. Thanks for that.
Well, don't let us put you out.
No, okay. Well, yeah, it was an hour and 40 minutes of
It was
mostly
quite
yawning.
So you'd have missed out on this. Did you catch any of the trivia because you watched it later?
I'm aware that there was stuff beforehand, just because I looked at a reactions video afterwards, and I was like, I don't seem to remember that before it started.
Well, the
Trivia
I thought
sounds
was cool.
fantastic. Trivia could really turn me around on a show that I thought was kind of so and middling, with definite high points. But trivia, that's what we wanted.
Bit of
Mum,
truth.
can we come out of the bunker? Will the Nazis get us? Trivia. Let's play Snap.
See, now James, did you catch any of the trivia at all? Or did you catch this later?
I
as
didn't.
well?
No, I tuned in right.
So-
This was pre-show, presumably.
Let me just in the build-up, most companies just put up like a flat screen going, the show's starting soon. Whereas the PC Gaming Show, they had a guy up there just doing trivia for about 20 minutes, like loads and loads of trivia, and some of the questions were quite interesting. Like, oh, okay, what year was so and so game released? Oh, I don't know. In what country was this game made? Like, oh, interesting.
So
And then every now and again,
with a room full of nerds.
every now and again, they'd throw one out there like, what's the most efficient kind of GPP loading thing? Is it ABB, CSS, RBDD, or DMNS? And I'm like,
Thank
oh,
God.
thanks PC Gaming Show, now we know which one we're watching. Okay, there we go.
And then the
We were
people
in
that
the-
answered correctly were taken up in the rapture. That's what God had been waiting for all this time. Speaking of kind of that sort of stuff, what did you think of the in inverted commas emotional? It's our own flesh and blood when we build these machines. And I just imagine like somebody sort of sitting in a room in Solio going, I bought mine from Argos. With a monitor and a little mouse and McAfee and a backpack.
Well, that means there's just not enough of that person to give.
No, I wish they were in the front row just shouting it up at Sean, Day, square bracket left, 9, square bracket right, plot. He was actually all right.
He was brilliant, actually. I really
Yeah.
liked him this time. I think he's coming to his own. He's one of my very first notes is that he's actually been, like, first couple of years were a little bit iffy, but he seems to have come into his own. He was one of the best presenters of the week, I thought.
Is it because he's standing up?
Well, he did sit down a lot as well, but he was, talking and seemed to be interested in everything.
Didn't he have? Wasn't it like 2 chairs last year? 2 like mildly.
It was set
office
out,
chairs,
sort of chat show style.
It was a bit Parkinson, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Whereas this is more. There were 2 tiny stools at the front of the stage. I'm sure there were just 2 tiny stools and every now and again they cut back to him and a developer stood on tiny stools, stood on tiny stools, talking, elevated above the crowd.
Did they at least get to clean their shoes off afterwards?
No,
after
they took the
standing
shoes
on
off. They
tiny
had to stand
stools?
on it was socks only.
On stools.
Yeah, dangerous. PC gaming show. You put a bit of yourself into the show. Ooh. You might slip, fall, and break your neck, but that's what PC gaming is all about.
I know.
Did it work? Probably not. But okay.
Fall into a female socket.
Fuck me.
I don't know.
I thought
James,
stage review. Stage very computery, full of computer bits. It was definitely the PC gaming show stage. I liked it. Simple and effective.
James, did you come to this show having any expectations or happy thoughts, or just thinking like, yeah, I'll give this a go?
My expectations were, I think, on my E3 predictions, which went horribly. I think I nailed the PC Gamer Show, which was very slightly better than last year. That's it. Which was pretty much my only hope for the show, was just keep improving, because the second year was definitely better than the first. And if this felt long, that first year felt real long.
Yeah, you didn't watch that, you cheater, did you, CJ? You didn't even watch that. I endured all 2.5 hours of that.
Yeah, that was long, and each segment seemed entirely disconnected to the last, which didn't really work for it, whereas having one presenter all the way through this time gives it that flow and means that there's an engagement with the audience, and much, much more so than there has been in the past. I thought this was much, much better.
Also, my only prediction for the PC Gaming Show was completely wrong. I made one prediction, and it was graphics cards. And did they show off a single graphics card?
No, they did not.
Well done.
So I did have one other prediction for the PC show, which was Metro 2035, which obviously ended up at the Microsoft show. So
half a point?
Easy Allies had a bet. Will somebody walk onto the floor of the PC Gaming Show wearing a backpack? And everybody that was coming on the reaction video, they were like, "Are they wearing a backpack?" Oh no! So it's expecting it there. And I will say as well that Sean Day 9 Plot was joined by OMG It's Firefox, who I can only imagine is the sister of Destiny player OMG It's a Kebab.
Yeah.
in my heed. So first game up was XCOM 2, where some sort of resistant... Oh, it's an XCOM 2 DLC, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. War of the Chosen expansion style thing, like they did with Enemy... So Enemy Unknown was the DLC. First game, and then Enemy Within, was the expansion kind of that changed a lot of the game, and they're planning on doing the same this time.
So it looks like they've taken 3 classes from Destiny and kind of plonked them in the game, if I'm being harsh. On the other side of it, they actually look quite good. They come in with sort of hidden agendas, and they seem to be maybe a little bit Alien, a little bit Thor. And as things went on, they were saying that there's sort of a zombie race that are in there that hate the aliens as much as they hate us. And I've not played an XCOM, but in fact, the nearest tie I've got to XCOM is I played Rebel Star on the ZX Spectrum, which was by Julian Gollop, who eventually went on to make XCOM. But yeah, I've got no real connection to this. So what did you make of it? What your thoughts? Give me deeper feelings.
I was so impressed by this trailer, I found and installed XCOM on the PC.
Was this the impetus, was it?
Yeah, this was it. I've always dabbled with it. Like I've had it on from Plus ages ago, and I've kind of like it seems like something I'd like, because I do like a strategy game. Like I really like this game. And I know it's completely different theming, but it's move guy around, take turn, try and kill other guy. It's a strategy game. Excuse me. But I was really intrigued by like the plot stuff. Seems kind of cool. Like it seems like you'll be fighting the same few dudes sort of quite a bit. Like it won't just be, here's a random alien, here's another one that looks the same, here's 73 more. Like it seems like you're fighting people with personalities that will fight differently against you. That seems kind of cool. I've always kind of wanted to give XCOM a go, and like just the presentation of the video, and it just seemed really interesting. You're gonna have like almost a legacy to fight against. You're not just fighting scumbags. You're fighting people with personalities, which is what you need. You know, you need a bit of personality in a game where you're mostly looking at people from a distance. Very welcome. I well into this, and is the reason that I'm now playing XCOM on the PC. So well done.
I will say, after seeing that Eurogamer vid, that the XCOM the board game does very much look like your sort of thing.
I've heard it's wonderful, and I've heard it's a very good app experience.
Yeah, watch it.
I will.
Do it.
I will. James?
Played the first XCOM. Had a tough time with it because I daftly set it to hardcore and made it to the midway point of the campaign before twice crapping out for different reasons, and then realising that actually satellites are the win button for XCOM, which made the third and complete playthrough pretty much a walk in the park, which was kind of disappointing. Kind of once you worked out the trick, it just seemed too easy, which is probably a little unfair because I had played through half the game twice before I started my third.
Forget you said that, Pad. Enjoy it.
Is this what you were saying on the DMs earlier about accidentally James Cartering your way through the game by accident?
Pretty much.
The way you play ruining it.
So for XCOM, the secret is satellites. Obviously, that'll be different if you're playing with Enemy Within installed. They did tweak some of that stuff, and it sounds like they made a lot of positive changes, or changes I would find positive in XCOM 2. But unfortunately for them, Ghost Recon Shadow Wars I came to after XCOM and enjoyed that on the 3DS, which is a Julian Agolip game.
Oh, yeah, I played that. It's really good.
It's ace. Yeah, it's really, really good. I really like it. Yes, graphically simplistic, etc., but actually really enjoyed the strategy of it. And
that's a really good game.
It's really good stuff. And Invisible Ink, another good XCOM-esque game that I preferred to XCOM. And so it all kind of meant that XCOM 2 passed me by, and now I'm kind of staring down the barrel of a Nintendo game that looks awfully XCOM, and far more interested in that than XCOM 2, which is a shame because it sounds like they did make some improvements, and Paddy's absolutely right. This did look like, and from what Jake Solomon, the director who was interviewed, was saying,
I think that's right, yeah.
Sounds like it's an even bigger expansion than Enemy Within was. So yeah,
sounds proper.
Yeah, sounds good stuff. But yeah.
So we then got another look at the beautiful Ooblets, which again just made me want it all the more. That looks just delightful. And the dancing was good, and the house building stuff was good.
It just looks lovely.
Everything,
and nice to be able to sort of pick this out as a non-violent game that looks the part and seems to play the part as well, not just a straightforward farming game or straightforward Pokemon-esque kind of animal collector game.
I know it is Xbox One and PC at first, but that looks like it'd be super at home on Switch.
Yeah. Such is the story with many of these games.
No, it just looked like it
looked like it'd be a great little thing to doodle about with. Yeah. Absolutely.
I didn't like the styling of it myself. I liked the art style. It looked a little bit too hip for me.
Dead. Oh my god!
Too many thick-rimmed sunglasses and quote-unquote nerdy haircuts. Fuck off.
This is where I send you a picture when it comes out, and I'm wearing a cravat.
Yeah,
a smoking
it's you with a pastel filter.
And I've got a
picture of yourself.
I've got an illustrated picture of myself on the wall beside me, and you go, "That's relative to my interests." I could swerve towards that now. You've got a real issue with youngsters or people that dress well.
Not well. Not well. No, terrible dressing. Like that guy from the Need for Speed Payback video. Terrible fashion sense. Oh, no. Wasn't a fan. Like, I like the game. The game looks great, but I think the styling would prevent me from getting too into it because it just, like, graphically looked nice, but the art direction of it, like, hits me in the I don't like this bone.
You see, the next time that we meet, especially if we're
in the
going to
grumpy
be
bone, there we go.
Especially if we're going to be on camera, I'm going to have to get like as many sort of modern day dalliances that I can wear, just so I can stand next to you as some sort of glittering fashion icon of the modern day, and you can stand next to me like you're the villain of the week from The Man from U.N.C.L.E.
That's fine.
Not the recent film.
I know which one I'd rather be.
What a pair we'll look like. I am from the future, I am from the past, and together we are modern day. We are twin humanities. Like, be the modern day Sapphire and Steel. There you go, kids, look that one up. So we then had BattleTech.
Yeah!
I'm sorry, that sounded like a voice from the past.
Yeah!
Yeah, neck slightly strangled by a turtleneck. It is you!
It is me.
Yeah. You can, since you shouted first, you can talk first.
I've played BattleTech, the board game of it. I've played it with a friend of mine, and it's really like it. The thing about BattleTech, right? The thing about BattleTech is, do you like rules? How much of a fan of rules are you? Do you like rules that have other rules that link to those rules that then have more rules that come further on? Do you like rules? Because if you like rules, you'll like BattleTech. The actual board game is like a sort of robot fighting skirmish game where you had 1, 2, or 3. We only played 1, 2, or 3. I know you can expand it more. Mechs, and you kind of move them in, and it's very tactical, and you have to try and shoot the other guys and win. There's like a million different rules involved. So when you shoot a guy, you've got accuracy to worry about. You've got areas to hit. You've got criticals to worry about. So when we played the last time we played, I shot my friend Mark with my gun, and it managed to hit him in the torso part, which is like, cool, alright, that was quite hard to hit, brilliant, let's see where it hit, and we rolled the dice, it's like, oh, it's a critical hit, shit, okay, right, let's see which bit of you it hit, oh, it hit your ammo depository, shit, okay, which bit of the ammo depository, we rolled the dice again, oh, it's the rockets, how many of them blew up, we rolled the dice again, all of them, and his robot exploded in a single bullet, it was...
And between that time, the years 20 and 30 just passed on by. Shall I go up and get some milk? Roll a dice? Maybe. Can I have an apple? No.
It's that. It basically is that. But it was a majestic moment. It's one of my favourite tabletop moments because it just got, every time we rolled the dice, it got worse and worse and worse and worse. It was delightful. It was just wonderful. So yeah, we enjoyed that. And then like this seems to be a really nice version of it. Like it seems to have the tactics there. It seems to have the movement in. The mechs look really good. It just looks like a good, fun little tactical robot fighting line of sight based damage zone cool game. I'm into it. I want to play this.
Seeing that old school kind of mech again did bring me back to that Invader Zim moment where he brings through like the Doom machine and Gergo's like, oh, he's got chicken legs. But yeah, I'm sure I used to play some old school mech game on either the Amiga or the ST. It might have been BattleTech or Mech Warrior or something mechy techy. But I used to quite like that. But this looks sort of quite nice and quite pretty as well.
Do you think it'll make it to the console, or do you think this is PC forever? Because I'd like to play this on the machine, but I don't think I ever will.
This is PC.
Bollocks.
PC.
Depends how complicated that sort of interface is, but yeah, on the face of it, I agree with James.
It's Paradox Interactive, I think, are making it, wasn't it? And they are very much a PC developer.
That's true.
I can't think off the top of my head of a game of theirs that has come to console.
Well, never mind then.
So,
yeah.
Mountain Blade 2. Horse fighting on hills. Sometimes getting off horse and fighting. I don't really know much about this.
Yeah, me neither. It looked a little bit jank. I suppose
it looks a bit Dynasty Warriors on the face of it, but I'm sure that was a really, really bad way of looking at it.
Yeah, but Dynasty Warriors, but without an animation budget. Like, it looked really janky, and me and Laura are watching it, and we're like, I'm sure, Mountain Blade's, like, huge, right? People love that thing.
Yeah, incredibly kind of in-depth, strategic, tactical, but also you need to get into the nitty-gritty of the combat. But so I've heard a lot about it on Gamers with Jobs. They're fans of this kind of in-depth style. Almost a war game, really. It's just it happens to be war game from years gone by.
Is it historically accurate battles, or is it just sort of
Not as
made
far
up
as
stuff?
I know.
Mm-hmm.
But not from what I've heard. But yeah, every time I think, oh, that sounds good, I will have a look on Steam and see, and then I remember, oh no, this looks janky as all hell.
You see, in this regard, there was a game here which was going for realism, which for me pulled me completely out of it. And towards the end of the show, there was a game that was going for a very similar sort of style of game that was going for no way of realism whatsoever, and I adored it. But we'll come to that a little bit later. So then, hold on to your twos, because here's Total War Warhammer 2, which is coming out on September the 28th.
Why did they not call that Total Warhammer? Why didn't they call it that?
Such is the question that everyone had on their lips.
It seems so obvious.
Because they've got Total War, and Warhammer is a completely different thing, and you can't just smish it. It's not sort of late night advertisements. It's not JML. Do you like eggs? Do you like lamps? Then you'll love lump eggs.
That's fair. I suppose they've got to keep the branding up. It just seems like a missed opportunity.
Because that was
Total Warhammer.
That was Chris Bratt's first question to the developer with the first game, I think. And he had to kind of pull it apart and explain it.
Fucked it. But the game looks fine. Looks cool. I'm not really a wargaming player myself. You know,
It's good covering the show, really.
Yeah, Age of Empires is about as good as I get. So, like, this kind of didn't really ding for me, but it looks nice.
James.
I didn't know this was coming. I heard, so I saw a little bit of Total War Warhammer at EGX 2015, I think, which was kind of, or it might have been Res 2015 actually, or sometime around then. So just before it was, not long before it was coming out. The only Total War I've played is Rome. And I haven't played any Warhammer stuff, so it didn't kind of drag me in just by name alone. But I didn't know there was a sequel coming, and it's coming in September, and therefore it's like, okay, I mean, this is a great game to have in a PC Gamer Show, but I haven't played enough Total War or Warhammer to be interested in one, let alone two, unfortunately.
I don't think it particularly sold itself well to people that haven't played the first one, whereas you could say that like XCOM 2's DLC and BattleTech kind of did. Yeah.
Apparently there are sun lizards, I gather.
I'll take it back.
Is an extra race. Yeah, so I heard a little bit about it on a podcast where Rob Zachney who is big into strategy games, was saying, I really want them to kind of, go for it, go nuts, new races, daft stuff. And the response was, no, this is just more of the same. They do have sun lizards, though. It's like, what? That's exactly what you wanted, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's exactly what was requested.
I'm sorry,
sun lizard
what?
Race that's... Yeah, fine, good. So, extra race, I believe, but otherwise going to hit the nail on the head for what you got out of the first one.
I'd like sun lizards to be a new lolly by Wolves that's a bit like a Solero, but in the shape of a lizard.
Of a lizard, with its tongue sticking out. And
but that's a fruity raspberry bit.
So I put this to you then. I watched a little bit of this, like a developer interview a little bit later of this. I think it was on Jeff. I can't remember. It might have been on Jeff. And it seems like I believe the sun lizards, the new race, have a bunch of extra units. One of them is a T-Rex. Just in mythical fantasy world, you can just stomp a T-Rex around and kick the crap out of things. That seems fun.
I think that was on the trailer, wasn't it?
I might have missed it, but they actually sort of see it stomping around and just like taking entire armies of dudes and just smashing them with a single swish of his tail. Like it looked pretty good.
Yeah, sounds good.
So we then went on to a card game called Shadowverse and a new expansion called Wonderland Dreams.
I have to own up, I just had to Google this again because I'd forgotten what this was, and I'm looking at it and I can't remember it at all.
I had to own up, I had to Google this because I hadn't remembered it was a card game. But I mean, it looked pretty artwork, anime as you might want it to be. dudes with lion heads and girls in dresses with lances and things like that. But
that is anime. That's all anime.
That's anime. I've just correctly described and identified anime. But also card game.
Thank God.
You've got an anime.
All this time, where were you since 1990? I've been so confused.
But also card game, and I hadn't heard of Shadowverse before, so apologies. I'm sure there are people out there for whom this is massive news, but for me it was like, oh, there's a game called Shadowverse. Oh, it's anime, and it's card game. Good.
I have stuff to interject on this, surprisingly, in that Cygames, who are behind...
Gangnam Style?
This. No, not quite. Cygames are very, very rich, and they did an anime based on a series of card stuff that they did called Rage of Bahamut Genesis, which was Princess Bride meets Final Fantasy. It was absolutely exquisitely animated. They had brilliant screenwriter, like top drawer director. It was tons of fun. Just a rip, snorting romp. Loved it to pieces. One of those things, unlike Lord of the Rings or Game of Thrones, where people don't walk places for about 7 episodes and then finally get there. They just kindly get to a new place and then stuff happens. It's called good writing.
Look, you've watched what, 3 episodes of Game of Thrones?
3 series, mate.
Oh, I think you're...
Then the walking. Oh, I tell you what, that's a lot of walking. Let's get 2 of the characters to have a sex. Whee! Now get walking again.
That's what life is.
Oh, God, in your turtleneck. So, Rage of Bahamut Genesis is fantastic. The sequel to it is, for some reason, turned up on Amazon Video at the minute, which thus far is really good, but really different. But Cygames are quite cash rich, and they did another card game called Granblue Fantasy, the anime of which is on Crunchyroll and isn't particularly well animated, but I believe in Japan Granblue Fantasy was really quite big again. So whilst not knowing anything about Shadowverse or Wonderland Dreams, I know that Cygames are quite big, and seemingly, the quality level's quite high. So.
Do we know if Wonderland Dreams is an Alice in Wonderland reference? Some of the art.
Having Googled it appears to be.
Leaning.
It appears to be, yes. There is a Wizardess of Oz card in there.
Right. Okay. Yeah, they're going for that kind of.
They're going full Wonderland.
Side.
Yeah.
Cool.
So the man from Intel came out.
Man from Del Monte.
Yeah, man from Intel just seemed like he was a villain from the A-Team.
Yeah.
I couldn't quite sort of put my finger on where I'd seen him. There was a little bit of that bloke who was in Iron Man 2. Can't think of his name. The wrestler guy.
Oh, Mickey Rourke.
Mickey Rourke.
Yeah.
The wrestler guy. Jesus.
Yeah. He was in a film called The Wrestler. How dare you?
I'm trying to think. What, The Undertaker? Who's that?
So they mentioned some stuff about Destiny 2. They brought a Destiny podcaster on there who to talk about his rig and
He's also a streamer.
how he'd be playing it 144 frames per second, but also begging for the new i9 Extreme motherboard or whatever one of those is. So there were people on one of the reaction videos that I got who got like an i7 and they went, "Oh my God, we're done." That's it. It's all on the way now.
This bit was odd for me. Like, this is the bit where it went, like...
This is the PC bit.
This is what PC Gamer Show
bit,
used to be, where they bring someone out and they say a load of numbers, and they bring out someone you don't know, and they talk about frame rates for a while, and you just... You check your phone...
Glaze over, get a drink.
Yeah.
This is what we were expecting, though, for all of it, though, wasn't it?
This was what I expected,
exactly.
and I'm thankful that this was really the only time this actually happened in the whole... For me, anyway, like, this is the only time I got bored during the show.
Because he came back later and turned up the boredom to 11. I think you're forgetting Lone Echo and Echo Arena, which he really went off on one about.
Oh yeah. But anyway, this was the worst thing for me. Like this was the worst bit of it for me. That it was just like, oh cool, yeah, moving on. What was there was something like a level up contest or something. What was that all about?
Don't know. I probably.
They didn't really. So I got the impression as we went on that this was a game dev contest. So indie devs were allowed to submit their games, but the fact that I'm having to say I got the impression means that they didn't exactly put their best foot forward when introducing the Level Up contest.
Right, I've Googled it. Level Up contest from Intel. Advance the possibilities of extraordinary gaming in the 2017 edition of the Intel Level Up Game Developer Contest. Create a new game that showcases the potential of multi-core scaling. Of course. Because when I develop a game, I don't do it for art. I don't want it to make a fun game. I just want to showcase the potential of multi-core scaling, guys. I really hope that's coming across.
Yeah. So okay. They did manage to just about convince me that it was a game dev competition, but I mean, the fact that I was sitting there watching this, thinking, what kind of contest is this? I don't really.
Do I have to level up in a game? Is this League of Legends? I don't want to play League of Legends.
Yeah.
So they then went from talking about Destiny and unlocked frame rates and 144 frames per second
I'm so excited.
i9 Extreme motherboards, ironically, to something simple and brilliant and adorable and looks ace, and that was Tunic.
Say that again for me. That was fun. Say that again.
Tunic.
Oh. Saved as ringtone.
So, I've used texting.
Tunic. Oh, I've got a message.
Again, I used to have an Invader Zim thing where every time a text came through, it was like, oh, leprechauns. And it was really weird on days when I didn't expect it, and I got my phone in like the top drawer of a desk, and I just heard this muffled leprechauns. So Tunic, this little cute fox, like wandering along, and the fighting stuff seems good. It looks adorable. That boss battle looked a little bit Titan Souls, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
It punched the same sort of buttons with me that the Oceanhorn did recently. That game looks awesome, and is from researching it, is coming to consoles next year as well.
Fucking brilliant. Look great. Like I say, I was very impressed by this one. Laura's eyes perked up at this as well, especially after 10 minutes of i9 unlocked frame rates. Like, oh, by the way, here's something nice now. Like, maybe maybe it wasn't as good as we're remembering. Maybe it wasn't that good. Maybe it was in contrast to what we'd just seen. This just seemed like a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, I've seen it a couple of times now. It's good. I liked the triangular grass, and I liked that he went up 2 flights of stairs and then waved at the player.
Yeah. It was cute, wasn't it? It's just really nice and cute. And this is like, for me, like this is better kind of cute art direction than on the Ooblet thing. Like this, I looked at this and didn't want to die.
You really have some difficult decisions.
That's your barometer for success for a game. I don't want to die.
And I don't want to die.
I can only draw James back to the Bethesda conference and the phone calls that you got. Or no, the person that came round that you were saying, yeah, if you saw him at this part in his neck, like the bleeding won't happen as much.
Oh, update on that. They broke the saw.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
So we then went into PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds, talking about their updates and stability. And I really liked the guy that came on. I thought he was a good bloke. And when he was saying about the stability fixes, and they had a good laugh about that rolling stuff.
The jumping and vaulting got like the biggest clap of the show so far, I thought.
But I thought he was an engaging guy, and he was talking sort of quite honestly, and Sean Plott seemed to have like a little bit of chem with him, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely.
I like the idea of they said that the 3D and 2D replays are coming to it, so you can watch your game back and kind of see where everybody was and see that sort of thing. Into that. I love seeing that sort of stuff. Like just seeing 100 dots running around a map turning into 1 dot. Like brilliant.
It'd be like looking at that Nintendo game that you got for me for the Wii U, Nintendo Funland jobby.
Oh yeah, where it shows you at the end like where everybody went.
Yeah,
that was great. Was it? Which one was that? Was it
Nintendo Land?
The Mario catch one that was for?
Yeah, the Mario one, I think. Yeah, that was really good. Also, I mean, just got great memories of that. I would play a standalone version of that. Was it the Animal Crossing one?
The one with the Rosas?
Yeah. No, the one where we were sort of chasing after one another, and one controlled two people and one controlled one.
Yeah, that was the Animal Crossing one where you had to pick up
that-
candy and you ran slower if you had lots of candy, and then the police would come with giant forks. Like, piss!
So great.
Drop the loot, run!
Why is no indie developer just straight rip that off? Because it looks great.
Yeah.
Yeah, stick it on Plus and then we'll all play it.
That weekend, I bought 2 copies of that game for 2 separate people.
Anything to add, Uncle James?
No, again, haven't played PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. Multiplayer is always a bit of a tough ask for me because people are involved. But no, the PlayerUnknown himself seems like a genuine guy. They seem like they're making. I mean, adding vaulting over anything in the game just seems like a massive endeavor just to be able to do something like that when your game hasn't had the ability to do any of it, rather than just putting in some kind of
as well. It has to be said.
Yeah,
really
absolutely.
well done.
So if they can keep on improving the game like that, given the success it's already had, I mean, there's not a day that I've been on Twitch in the past couple of months where it's not been the most watched current game that I can certainly remember.
It is very good to watch on Twitch. It has to be said.
Yeah.
Because it's one of those where
I've been watching a few on YouTube myself, and it last couple of days I've been watching a few different ones. And it's been fun every single time.
I think with Twitch as well, because there are moments when everything's quiet, like people can run along and talk to their viewers about like the game or other stuff, or they can hide. And there's a real sort of sense of community and tension in there. It's very watchable. I can see why it's done that well. But and then it's great to see people that again started out as DayZ modders.
Yes.
Yeah. And then
And
sort of
they've
built
taken
out
that
from there.
idea and run with it. Yeah, definitely.
So from the people that did Rising Storm 2, Killing Floor 2, the Summer Sideshow. I hated every second of this.
Really? Because I thought this looked kind of fun.
Oh my god.
I was into this.
Is that what they did back in your day?
Shoot a fucking clown. Brilliant.
We had no console, so we just murdered people.
It
sometimes
reminded me
at theme parks.
It reminded me, sort of thematically, reminded me of one of the levels in House of the Dead Overkill, which is my favourite light gun game ever. It looked over the top. It looked stupid, like a whole bunch of silly games to play with it. Here's some flesh boys to shoot up, have some fun, go. Like,
hey, see, I didn't get that
Like a
wacky
laugh.
tone from it. I got Five Nights at Freddy's kind of just shitey horror
Yeah.
really?
cuddle blah.
Oh no, I just
No.
got fun, wacky. Here's a shoot gun fun time now
Back
out of
into
this.
Carbonate with you.
Oh. No, I like this. I'd have given this a go. It reminded me of House of the Dead Overkill, and anything that does that gets at least a cursory look from me, because House of the Dead Overkill is fucking brilliant.
Agreed. On that front. Just not the
I haven't played Killing Floor 2. The Summer Sideshow didn't appeal to me in any way, shape, or form, but I do kind of like that this is an online game and they're doing a 1 month event where, you might be able to get skins, etc., during that time that you can use afterwards, but the actual event itself is a month. It ends. That content, that whatever modes they put in, etc., gone. Kind of like that because it builds up a real sense of this being a moment in time for everyone who plays that game and getting people wanting to come back into it. So I like that idea, but what I saw was it was never going to tempt me to try Killing Floor 2, unfortunately.
So Forza 7, which we've covered previously in the Xbox conference, likewise with Sea of Thieves, and I don't think it gave a particularly good showing here. It all seemed a little bit sort of half-assed chatty.
I think they just wanted to put them here to remind people that, okay, you don't want to buy an Xbox, fine, you can still play our games, which is great, but I didn't see anything here. I barely paid attention while they were on, to be honest, because I'd kind of seen everything I wanted to see from both of these games at the Microsoft show.
Yeah, well, the show at Microsoft, the Sea of Thieves one particularly, was so good.
Yeah.
It's like, that's fine, just remind me, Sea of Thieves, by the way, and move on. That's all you got to do.
Yeah.
They had an appearance though on the E3 Coliseum at Jeff's place, and it wasn't They all seemed like really unprofessional. It wasn't very good at all, which was quite sad.
That's a shame.
Yeah. We then had The Last Night, which we've covered on the Xbox show again, and then
Worth saying sorry, you were probably just about to say it.
Then you can say it instead.
Worth saying that the first thing that happened when they introduced the game was developer Tim Soray came out and made an apology for tweets that he'd made. I think it was a couple of years ago, but it was certainly a good long while ago, that had, since the last night's appearance on the Xbox conference, had caused a little bit of a Twitter storm-ish.
Milkshake duck, I believe, is the
I think,
term.
Milkshake duck, yes.
I think there was enough of a kickback to a game that most people saw the trailer for and thought, wow, that looks great. Oh, but they then went on Twitter and found out they didn't want to play the game. I guess you could be cynical and question whether he's apologising to save his game more than he actually means it, but the apology to me seemed genuine and fairly unreserved, I would say. He came on, apologised for the tweets, said, I'm not that person anymore. I can only apologise for the tweets that I made and the things I said. And to do that on a stage in front of a live audience and 100,000 or so people watching on streaming services, I thought took quite a lot of courage to do that.
It also sounded much more charming in that accent than reading it in a tweet. Because his accent
that's true.
was like wind chimes.
But yeah, I guess everyone's going to have to make their mind up, much like Shadow Complex. That game was associated with an author. What's his face? Scott Card. Orson Scott Card, isn't it? That people had problems with his political views and therefore chose not to play the game. It's going to be the same sort of situation here, I think. Whether the apology rings true or not might make a difference as to whether or not someone's willing to play the game. And I wouldn't dare to presume to try and colour that for anyone. That's something that we're all going to have to decide ourselves, I guess.
So we then had Islands, which is spelt with a Y, which stands for Your Lands, but it's pronounced Islands, which seems to be wonderfully all over the place and gives people lots of stuff that they can do, but not for me.
I didn't like this either. I don't think.
But you were in it.
Is it Minecraft or Little Big Planet? It doesn't know what it is.
It's Yawnecraft. The main guy looks like you.
Is it?
Yeah, it's some sort of ginger washed up on a shore. Do you remember when that happened?
You wouldn't want to be a redhead on a desert island in the baking sun, would you?
No, much like vampires, we can't go out in the sun.
Yeah, you'd be up in flames before you even touch the sand.
Soon before you knew it, you'd be driving around in cars in the snow. That's how life works. And using some sort of magical hoover to dig a big hole.
Maybe Ginger Mode would be expert mode for the game. You're on a desert island. You're immediately on fire. Go.
Yeah, you've got...
I'd imagine Ginger Mode, if it's coloured by you, would just be you seeing somebody with like a relatively stylish haircut and just going, YouTuber! Maybe you could have that button like the accordion button in Sea of Thieves. YouTuber!
So they come up to me and they're like, you look cold, here, wear this plaid shirt with these braces. I'd rather piss on it. Throw it in the bin.
So this is from Bohemia Interactive, who did DayZ famously. And it's therefore a bit of a change of tack for them, but might appeal to people, as you say, if they're looking for something Minecrafty in a DayZ mold, with more of the exploration and less of the murder.
Ylands. It's a weird name.
Very weird name. Very weird name.
Yeah, but hold land close to you, and let's just say that that Clay's Griftlands just looked gobsmacking.
Yeah.
I need it in my life. This is the people that don't starve, yeah?
Yep.
Yep, and the people who before that did why am I blanking on Mark the Ninja? Yeah, absolutely, and Shank
as well.
Shank 2 before that, yeah.
Invisible Clay as well.
That in the art style, definitely.
Yeah.
I liked the old school sort of British comics colouring on the lead characters.
Yeah.
As they said on the Easy Allies sort of feedback thing, they said this game tells me exactly, though this trailer tells me exactly what this game is. It looked fantastic. I'll have me a slice of that.
I think the character designs were great as well. Like, I really like the alien they meet halfway through.
Yeah.
With the weird bug out eyes, like
with the backslap. Hey, best mates.
Yep, I'm into him. He's pal of the week. No, this game looks great. Like, really, really into this. Styling looks dead on. Laura is a big fan of Clay because she really, really likes Don't Starve. Like, she literally plays the shit out of Don't Starve over and over and over. We tried the multiplayer one together and I hated it, and she was very upset that I hated it. Doesn't work multiplayer. But again, she was all over this as well. Like, this and Tunic before. Like, I think these were her two favourite games of the whole week. Which is mad that her two favourite games came out of the PC show of all places. But yeah, like you were saying, James, that Sony are looking to get, or at least Sony at least, are looking to help get this console out as soon as possible.
Right, yeah.
So it's in the hands of people that want to play it. Because, this looks great, but I won't play it on a PC, because this is not what I do.
Although, I mean, you can see why it would come to PC first, being a turn-based style game, but then games like Darkest Dungeon have come to console with relatively strong versions, and it's not the case that strategy games only live on PC anymore. XCOM and many, many others have proved that a long time ago. So yeah.
So then Mickey Rourke came back out and ran us through Lone Echo VR from Ready at Dawn, Echo Arena, the esport, and Troy Baker doing this voice a lot with pauses.
I am in two minds about this game because I really like the look of the single player bit. Looked kind of fun.
Yeah.
Clambering around a ship with just your hands. That looks really cool. Like, I'm into that massively. The multiplayer side of it, sure, fine. It looks a little bit Tron. It looks a little bit Blitzball,
It looked like it could end up a little bit of a mess. And if it's not made to end up being a little bit of a mess like Rocket League that's actually great, then... You know what I mean? It looked like when people try and play Quidditch and run about with a broom between their legs, dashing about after just ball chasing rather than actually.
I'd say they've got the broom too high at that point.
I apologise. It came out of my mouth before I knew what I'd said.
Don't worry, I won't snitch on you.
Ooh.
So they also said there's a VR Challenger League. They're trying to get the Echo Arena multiplayer side of it to be a little bit of a competitive shock horror esport. But the Echo Arena part is also going to be free to Oculus users at launch, which is cool, I guess. But yeah, the single player looked far more interesting to me from Ready at Dawn, them of portable God of War.
And of the Order 1886.
And of Order 1886. But
I was very confused when the guy from Ready at Dawn came out, whose name I've completely blanked on.
But they've actually, off the top of my head, they've released quite a few VR games, haven't they? Is it them I'm thinking of?
I don't know. Maybe they have.
One fairly big developer, but
I haven't really followed them since Order 1886.
Sure.
Yeah. But yeah, like the multiplayer side. Does it look? It doesn't look sharp enough to be an esport, does it? You kind of. The characters all looked a little bit
two teams that know how to play and are playing strategically, the notion of having to try and intercept passes and that kind of thing. But if you don't, then yeah, you're just going to be running around. Like if you get people who don't really know how to play football and everyone wants to be a striker, don't work.
So hold on to your esports track pants because we have Lawbreakers by Cliffy B and friends.
He's so edgy, isn't he?
Always. He's got a beard now.
Great. Good job, Cliffy B. Like, this was the one that's really, really fast, right?
Yeah, it's got an anti-gravity component, is what I can tell. And,
everyone's got weird jumps.
Yeah, and people can kind of swing downwards and upwards, and it's a wee bit beyond me, I must admit, but they had a video of people just going like, I can't believe it, I'm still shaking. This is what a Twitch shoot should be, and
God, aren't YouTubers really important?
YouTuber.
YouTuber.
Sorry, I just flicked the A button again by accident.
Like the game for me, like Lawbreakers. If I thought Quake looked a bit hard to deal with, like this looked another level above. Like this looked like this is a PC shooter. This is a PC game.
Mm-hmm.
This is only going to work on a PC because it's so Twitch. Like I just couldn't follow what was happening.
PlayStation 4 with pro enhancements.
Oh yeah, well that's true. 60 frames a second, I guess, would be fine. But like it's like a bunch of fleas hopping around shooting other fleas. I couldn't see what was going on. I couldn't follow it. I understand they want to show off, cool pro players doing cool pro stuff. Yeah. But for me, as a human with human limitations, nah. Only $30. You're all right, mate.
So what I would say is Titanfall looked like it might end up doing that initially, like before you got into tutorial and realized how straightforward it was to wall run and chain wall runs together and that kind of thing. It did look like it could end up doing that when you saw someone who knew how to play the game playing it. It looked like it might be just ridiculous. So I expect that this is going to be Twitch at a level that anyone over the age of 25 just isn't able to do, because that's what it looks like. But possibly it'll be. I haven't played it. I have no idea. But maybe it'll be more achievable than you think. But
What do you think about the Overwatch snipe at the end?
You said the word.
I said it.
Oh my god! I've got to block you.
Oh, I've actually forgotten what I said.
I've got to block you and mute you. That should make the next episodes really much more
quite short.
Really.
Yeah, let's be honest. Yeah. But nice to see Clifford Blazinski, good old Cliffy B, as he doesn't like to be called now. Nice to see him out. Fairly bullish, I think. I think it's fair to say that if you're releasing this kind of shooter, you're probably going to get comparisons that you don't want, and anything that's not quite as good as some other similar style of games is going to draw criticism. I'm being careful with my words.
Well played.
But yeah, fairly bullish. And why shouldn't he be? I mean, Gears of War multiplayer
nice pun there.
did kind of descend into rolly, shooty, shotty guns, but nonetheless, the guy comes from Epic Games with a fairly decent pedigree of being involved in strong multiplayer shooter games. So didn't necessarily need the swearing when he said it's going to be $30, not $60, but he's clearly got some strong opinions on releasing a multiplayer-only game for $60. That's possibly an old-school mentality. Maybe the kids don't care that much, but to a lot of people, you get either a stonking campaign or campaign plus multiplayer for $60, and if you're multiplayer only, you better slash that price, and that's what they're doing. So
that was reactionary? Do you think this is more of a, if it was $60, given what it is, the sales wouldn't be as good, I don't think.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
Certain other competitors to this game might have an inbuilt audience that they're able to draw on. In this case, I think, $30 get people in the door. If you're confident in your game and therefore they like it, then word of mouth spreads and you end up selling more copies and raking in the money anyway. So, yeah, smart move, seemed like to me.
Wargroove looked great. Advance Wars meets Fire Emblem, lovely art style, and then it went into sort of showing the different people, and the art style was even more beautiful. This just looked charming and lovely, and I'll have it on consoles, please. And the people that were debuting it were really nice as well. And the way that they got the editor up and running to show people how they could make their own games and stuff was really neat. And yeah, I thought this was really sweet. I like this a lot.
Had to just check, but yes, Wargroove is indeed coming to Switch. I knew I was pretty sure when I saw this trailer. I had exactly the same feelings about a game in the Nintendo Switch kind of. I think it was back in January, the direct they did where they talked about all the games that were coming. It certainly popped up at one of the directs, and yeah, sure enough, I've just confirmed, and it is indeed Wargroove that's coming to Switch, which makes perfect sense. But yeah, PC as well.
I liked it a lot.
I agree. I've been following this one a bit. I saw a GIF posted up a while ago, a good few months ago now, of what would be this. And it's like, just playing around with something and literally putting a level together in a GIF like from nothing to playable level. And it's like, that's, I mean, fair enough. That's quite impressive, isn't it? It's from the Stardew Valley and Starbound people.
It's Chucklefish, isn't it? They've done teaming up with the folks that did Night in the Woods and something else, I think they said.
People that make games.
Maybe, yeah.
I've never played Advance Wars or Fire Emblem.
It's lovely.
What are they like? Are they good?
Advance Wars is lovely. I really, really like Advance Wars.
The closest one I've got to it is a PSP game, which was very similar in that sort of thing. Like you drive your ships around and you each other like that. I can't remember what it was called now, but it was quite good, like Advanced Commander or something like that. Anyway.
Advance Wars looked cutesy as anything, but was really sort of quite complex when it got going. And I believe, I haven't played many of the recent sort of Fire Emblems, but I believe it's all that, but tied up in sort of multi-generational stories and permadeath and children and marriage and all that kind of gubbins. You're back, basically.
Cool. Field Commander, that's what it's called. Yeah, no, I'm into that. It looks great. It looks fun, and like the level maker looks like you could just have some hellish fun with that. Just make a terrible broken wet game and wait for 10 minutes for someone on the internet to beat it.
Mr. James?
Yeah, sounds good. Likewise, know of Advance Wars and Fire Emblem, but haven't played any of them. I think I have 3DS, Fire Emblem. Why am I forgetting the name of it? The one that everyone loved. Doesn't matter. I have that around somewhere, but I haven't played it.
It's not both right.
Fire Emblem, the current
Awakening. I knew it would come to me eventually. It's Fire Emblem Awakening. I have that on my 3DS, I think. I might have got it digitally for some reason, some deal that Nintendo were doing, but never tried it, and have heard, obviously, all of the love for both series for a good long while, and there's been a lack of Advance Wars around for me to dive into a modern one, and just haven't got around to an old one. So if Wargroove can tickle that particular part of my anatomy, then yeah, all the better.
We then had another go up at Shadow of War, although it was a big cutscene this time. Engaging cutscene all the same, but a cutscene. And I thought if anything would be on the PC gaming show, it might be showing off a little more of that sort of strategy from the assaults.
Or strategy, or at least look what we can do. We're still better than everyone. Fancy graphics. But I think if you want to play this game by this point, it's just nice for them to make the point that this isn't a console-only series. Going to get it on dem PCs as well. So yeah, fine.
So do you know much about Age of Empires? Because a lot of people seem to be desperately happy about this.
I know the name Age of Empires, but I was more of a Command and Conquer than SimCity style person. So never played the original, unfortunately. Can't quite remember if it was just something that I missed or whether it just came out at the wrong time and therefore I just missed it. So either way, I just missed it. But yeah, this sounds great. This is 20th anniversary. They're staggering some events throughout the year to celebrate Age of Empires, and why not? Big series from a big title from an era when titles like this were kind of 10 a penny. So the fact that it stands out is all the more significant. And the definitive edition, so a absolute remake, not a port, not a HD update or anything. They're actually going back to the code itself and trying to remake something modern, which sounds great.
Paddy?
Right, so when I got my PC, my very first PC, when I was a wee youngster, like 14, 15.
My first PC from the Early Learning Centre?
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, it had a big button that had a cow on it, and you press the cow button and it went moo. So my very first PC I bought for myself, I got a few games with it, and Age of Empires 1 was the very first one that I bought for myself. I found a copy of the gold edition, which had, all the extra bonus stuff in it as well, and thought, oh, that's for a £5. Yeah, go on then, that looks kind of fun. The very, very first game I played in that machine, and it was brilliant, and I still like it. We had a bit of fun with it at university. Again, I found the old disc, and what we did is we all installed it on all our machines, and played like a 6-player game over our sort of house internet, which was just the funniest time. just the best because we didn't have the voice chat on. We were just yelling at each other out of our doors. It was majestic. It was so much fun. I've got really fond memories of kind of sending off hordes of villagers to go pick up loads of wood and then getting attacked by the local club men and going, right, run, everybody drop that shit, come back, it's gone wrong, come back, we need to build more towers, we haven't got enough stone, let's go look at what they've built an entire fortress, I've yet to build a fence, what's going on, why is the AI so good at it and why am I so shit? Let's try some of my own scenarios instead and give myself 20 war catapults and give them nothing but villagers and see what happens. Oh, I win, really good. What a surprise. I loved this game. I used to make fields of priests and walk out and do the wololo thing for just constantly, just build a wall around them and have them wololo anything gets too close.
Explain this, please.
Wololo. So the priest in Age of Empires is a cool unit.
See, that's my text tone now.
Wololo. So to give you some context, the priest is a unit that can go out and it can basically convert an enemy unit to your team. So you can
dirty religious brainwashing tactics.
Blind them with the religious brainwashing, yeah. And he does this by walking up and going wololo and moving his arms around until they turn the right colour.
That's got to be offensive to someone.
It's not. It's as these things go. It's not the most subtle thing in the world. But the one disappointment I had with this announcement, the very one disappointment I didn't have, that we didn't see a priest go wololo in the announcement. That would have made it. That would have made me snort milk out my nose.
Well, 20th anniversary events. Next one at Gamescom even. Oh. I think we all know what they're going to be showing there.
Wololo only.
If anything, like you saying things like that, it just pushes the same sort of buttons in me that loved Populous 2 and stuff, and just played that until sort of like my fingers bled.
I mean, that's what I was going to ask actually. Which of the I mentioned Command and Conquer, which obviously is very different. SimCity, which is pure city builder, but Civilization and Rome Total War are games I've played. What would you pitch for idiot me who can't be bothered to Google Age of Empires and find out for himself? What is Age of Empires most like?
Well, I've only really played Age of Empires and Populous the beginning, so I can tell you that Age of Empires is like Age of Empires.
Excellent.
It's very technology based. So you're aiming about building up a civilization, collecting lots of there's lots and lots of resource collection in it. In the original release when I was younger, and that being the bit that would take forever. So you line your guys up, you point them at the local stone line, you build a deposit nearby so they can drop it all off, and then you wait 20 minutes to collect it all. Getting food going early is important as well, because if you haven't got enough food, you can't build enough dudes. That rhymed. It's about dudes. It's resource gathering. It's upgrading a tech tree. It's making more powerful units, and then going and smashing the other team up. That's basically
it.
It's
fun.
A strategy game. It's fun, you know.
Yeah,
and do you know what they've put in this time as well? 16 levels of rotate, so the characters don't just kind of whip back and forwards, and zoom levels. More zoom levels. Go on, my son. Zoom levels. And that's the weirdest thing that I've been really into in this show.
So you've been a happy lad then from seeing this. Did it kind of catch you off guard? Because I was sort of okay, and you must have been like no.
Well, it's when they kind of teased it at the start. It was like 20 years of Age of Empires, cool. And it's like, hang on, this stained glass looks familiar. Is this the cover of the first? No.
I'm glad that was a huge reaction to you.
Yeah, there's been a lot of this thing going on, with the I know on GOG, like the Baldur's Gate reimaginings and the Planescape one that's happening or happened. Am I right about that? They've been HDifying and enhancing the older games to make them play better on new stuff. This just seems like another one of those, and I'm proper into that. Please, can I have some, please?
I just hope that with it being Microsoft, I'm hoping that if they do bring it to console, that there's connection between Xbox Live and PC, so we can kind of game against each other. That'd be pretty good.
Now
fun.
I can say I've tried it. I've tried the PS2 version of Age of Empires 2. Doesn't work very well on a console. I tried
because that's a long time between sort of control methods.
True, but I don't know. It's definitely a PC game. It did not translate very well at all. I know we're a few years on, but
sure, yeah.
If they're doing stuff like City Skylines, I'd imagine that they've maybe got a few more ideas.
Yeah,
and a bit more room to play about with.
other games that you might have thought would have needed PC or touch interface, Civilization Revolution, Plants vs. Zombies even, and of course Halo Wars has had 2 games that have worked, albeit with caveats of for a console strategy game, but seem to work pretty well.
That?
I've not played Tropico on a console, so I don't.
So that was the end of the show. What did you think of it?
I was just going to quickly ask Paddy, actually, how much of your positivity for the overall PC show came down to that last
Good point.
announcement?
Okay, a bit of it, I'll be honest.
That's not a criticism, because obviously they put it last to get that reaction. You know?
Yeah, that was a good get for them. That was very, very definitely pointed at me, that announcement. That was one for me in the end there. But generally, apart from a few missteps, I thought this was a much stronger show than last year. I thought that Sean Day 9, whatever his name was, did a really good job showing it off. I think all the developers they had on, they seemed to actually care about the games they were showing off. You know, they were all with the developers out there. You know, the chat. It went on. It was kind of a combination of like a proper live show, like I say a proper, like a normal conference, and like Jeff's show in the middle, like where you have the trailer bit, and then you have a couple of minutes of talking. Then you have another trailer bit. Then you have another few minutes of talking. You know, and it was a bit more personal. I think he's really, like you say, grown into his presenting role really well now. I'm very much into it. I thought the presentation was quite consistent. There were only a couple of dips, and that was when we kind of got to the weird tech VR stuff that we don't really care about anyway. Lots of cool games shown. You know, it's reignited XCOM for me. BattleTech looked great. Griftlands looked brilliant. Wargroove, Age of Empires. Like, there were some good, strong games there for me. Games I wasn't expecting. Like, I went into this not expecting a lot. I was like, oh, we're going to see some early access games and some graphics cards. That's what we're going to see. Maybe some esports. We got the esports. But no, generally, really strong show. I genuinely enjoyed this. Probably more than Bethesda, probably more than EA, with a couple of notable exceptions. But yeah, strong show. Really enjoyed this. More next year, please.
James?
Yeah, I agree. So the PC show of previous years has been, I thought, much more poorly, although getting better from first to second year, getting better in terms of presentation. But the games were almost all games that I'd look at and say, oh, yeah, that looks cool. I'm sure for people who like those games, this will be great. And there were 5 or 6 like that in here, absolutely, that were clearly not for me, and that's fine, but they looked like good, well-presented versions of, you know, games like Forza Motorsport, obviously, but Total War Warhammer 2 for people who like Total War and Warhammer, and Total War Warhammer. Does the business. But I managed to pick 2 or 3, I think, that weren't repeats from other shows and tickled my fancy quite a bit, which is a heck of a massive step up for the PC show. And I don't want this to sound patronising at all, but as someone watching the PC show who has a gaming capable PC and likes to play games on PC as much as anywhere else, maybe except for Switch, I know. But yeah, I want to love the PC show, and they made that tough the first year, and slightly less tough the second year, and this year they're doing it. I think they pared it down, kept it upbeat and moving, aside from an Intel Core i9 shaped dip around
Extreme.
The sort of halfway through, but yeah, otherwise great, I thought.
This I sort of went in with a little trepidation, although knowing that the likes of Pad and Sean Bell had enjoyed the show, so that sort of perked me up a little bit. I knew that there wasn't going to be a lot for my taste personally, but I did find some stuff which turned my head that I hadn't heard about before. I mean, Ooblets I had, which I was excited for. Tunic just looks phenomenal. I can't wait to play that. Griftlands likewise looks absolutely day one for me, and Wargroove looks double tops too. So yeah, there were nuggets in there that were for me, but I realised that strategy and multiplayer stuff, multiplayer shooters are kind of big time on PC and aren't my bag. So I am aware that I was coming into this with a degree of I don't know, it not being my thing, but you know, I didn't dislike it particularly. I thought Sean Plott handled things really well with OMG. It's Firefox. But yeah, it was all right. I enjoyed it.
I'm kind of surprised, actually, thinking back now. Like, there were no MOBAs there, were there? No League of Legends, no Dota, no Valve, no Blizzard.
Dare I say, like MMOs of 5-6 years ago, that a lot of them went free to play or didn't make it. Dare I say it does seem quiet on the MOBA front at the moment. It seems like the hero-based shooter and card games seem to be very popular at the moment.
Yeah, it was good. No MOBA, no cry. Bob Marley knew.
Yeah.
Let's go away and do other things.
Yeah, that was good. So yeah, PC Gaming Show, really good this year. Genuinely excited for that next year again. I think that's firmly become part of the show now.
Yes, yeah.
So we've got Oops next, and that will be with you tomorrow. Probably.
Maybe.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Farewell. I'm very glad. My phone did just buzz to remind me to put it back onto silent again with my co-worker from work telling me there's no toilet paper left in case I had to do an emergency number 2 in the morning.
Number 2.
Number poo.
Would be.
Number poo.
Right. Number poo.
Still, yes,
How does it feel to have won the war?
I hate this weather. As me and James were discussing, this is bad weather for gingers.
Wretched. I could kiss Saturday James for having left enough water in the fridge to mean I've got a nice cool drink at the moment.
Predictably, I'm sitting here with a coffee. Hooray!
Ooh! I do have a double mint tea today.
Okay.
It's
Nice.
quite
Have you tried triple mint tea?
I have not.
It's very good. You should try it.
The first 2 so far. I started with regular peppermint, and then I've had 2
Just
kinds of
building
mint.
yourself up.
I might. I mean, I've got a bag of mints in the thing. I could chuck a humbug in.
Triple mint. Hold on, I've got.
Triple mint would presumably be peppermint, spearmint, and glacier mint.
I've got the box. Let me see.
Royal mint. Just try a few pound coins in.
3 mint Pocket Tea, a verdant infusion of organic peppermint, spearmint, and field mint.
Field.
They're just making that up now.
No, it's very nice. Their 3 ginger is far better than that though, so I'd recommend that, especially with you being the ginger. Have you got like Robo Degus now?
That's not me that time.
That was me. Anne-Marie just shredded a receipt.
What timing? What a time to be alive.
Shall we do this thing then?
Yeah?
Let's do this.
Wow, you sound so hip and deaf and fresh. And
yet you know me, so you know none of that is true.
yeah, homie. Slap.
Yeah, boy.
Oh, Jesus Christ, this is the most English podcast that's ever lived.
Believe that.
I know.
None so white.
Beat this. No. See, that's at least a video game thing.
Yo, peep this. It's the PC Gaming Show.
Yeah, that's